Hey guys, what's up? It's Sleeping Snorlax Style here. If you guys would like to be part of that sleeping squad, please hit that subscribe button. If you guys enjoy the video, leave a like and a comment. So without further ado today, we'll be discussing PSA grading. So, as you guys know, recently, Pokemon cards have been skyrocketing in value. And the most notable one is the Charizard. So today I have a nice set of Charizards. Let me move my camera over a little bit. So I have, I think, 10 Charizards here. And then we'll be discussing each of them. So if you guys want to grade your cards, I hope this video helps and letting you guys see what the cards look like and what grades I got. I don't have any of the ones with subgrades, so like 8.5s, I don't have any of those, as well as modifiers such as OC for off-center or MC for miscut. I don't have any of those either, and I am missing the 2, but I have a different one. So we'll get started with these first 2 cards. They're both PSA 1s. And these are all the non-holo legendary collection, I think, deck Charizard. So as you can see, we'll go through them one by one. So, on this one, there's, on the front here, there's a lot of damage to the card. I don't know if you can see it clearly. But there's like warping here. And then obviously if we turn to the back, you can see on the left side there's quite a bit of whitening on the edge here, and overall the card is pretty beat up. So if we go over to this other card, you should be able to see there's a crease, so any indentation into your card drops it significantly. And if we turn it to the back, you can see there's a significant amount of whitening in this top corner right here. To be fair, all the corners have really significant whitening. So if your card is beat up or has a lot of whitening on it, chances are it'll get that PSA 1. So let's put these back. Next up, I have a PSA 2. This is a shadowless holographic Blastoise. Don't know if you can see it, but there's a lot of scratches on the holo. The other cards, there's really no holo to scratch, and then the back is pretty beat up. You can see right there, if I shine the light, there's a crease, a couple creases. And then there's significant whitening. You can see a chunk right there. So yeah, the difference between a 1 and 2, I'm not sure about. I think it's subjective. All this is subjective, but yeah. So without further ado, let's get to the PSA 3. So this is another Charizard. You can see this bottom right here. I don't know if you can see that. Let's try and get the light. There's a small like indentation down here. It's not, the card overall doesn't have too much significant damage. There's a small nick right over here. Then as far as the whitening goes, the whitening is a bit less pronounced. There's still quite a bit on the top. If you had a black background, it'd be easier to see. Yeah, there we go. So you can see the whitening now. There for the top, and then we'll turn it sideways. Yeah, you can see whitening all around. So significant, a bit less than the PSA 1. So let me get the 1 again, and then we can compare top to bottom. So the PSA 1 will be on the top. that provides a better angle. But I believe this is the warped one. Yeah, so let's get the non-warped one. I think this one, there's a lot more whitening prevalent in the back. Yeah, so as you can see, there's a lot more whitening on the one with the, believe it had a crease somewhere, versus the PSA 3, which I'll be holding up now. Has a little bit less whitening, still a good amount. Next up, we'll look at the PSA 4. So this is another 2002 Pokemon Legendary Collection Charizard. Believe the front is okay. But then when we turn to the back, you can see that there's still whitening on the corners. As you can see, it's slightly reduced, but there is still whitening. I believe there has to be some indentation in the card in order for it to be a 4. Like with my Mew that I showed you that I got from Beckett, made it over to CGC. It's typically, if you go anywhere from PSA 1 to PSA 4, there is some bend in the card. Next up, we have a PSA 5. So I'm looking for any bend in the card. I don't see it on the front. The front looks pretty clean. The back also looks clean, so the back I believe should be free from any kind of bends. And so when we look at it, you can see that there's still whitening a good amount, but there is no like major damage such as an indentation or bend or anything. So I think that is the bottom line for 5, or then we'll move on to the PSA 6, which is excellent to mint. So the front on this card is actually pretty clean. There's, I don't know if you can see it, but near the top there's a slight like nick on the top. In the back, if I can get it with the black background, you can see that we have some whitening, but it isn't as heavy as the previous grades. So that was the PSA 6. Then we'll move on to the 7. So the 7 is near mint. So for this one, you can see on the back there's like slivers of whitening. In the top corner there's some, and then the bottom there's some as well. And so obviously the card is in good condition on the surface. There are some nicks around the edges and corners, but overall this is a pretty good card, but there'd be some slight whitening. I also forgot to mention about centering, which I think these are all decently centered for most of them. So it's mainly about the edge wear, surface wear, that kind of stuff. So this is a near mint to mint 8. This is a PSA 8, which is the next grade up from the 7. So the front, there is no real visible damage, and if you turn to the back, there's a slight whitening, a little bit less, so like 7s and 8s. You can see in the, that top corner, there's some whitening right there. For the other one, there's a little nicks, maybe it doesn't show on the camera. Then this bottom, there's some nicks there, some whitening there. There's like a dot or two on the bottom. So that is what an 8 would be looking like. Then for a 9, there's a mint 9. We got, I think overall the card is centered fairly well. Then on the back, there is little to no whitening. So if you can see this bottom corner, there's 1, 2 dots there. But for the rest, there is no significant whitening on the corners or edges. So that is a 9. And then we have the highest PSA grade you can get, which is a 10, Gem Mint 10. And so as you can see, from the card, the centering is pretty spot on, like the top versus the bottom. Widths versus the left to right widths also pretty good. And then as you can see in the back, it's very hard to see. There is a slight sliver of white down here, and then one up here and one in the corner, but they are very hard to see, but they are there. So this would be okay 10. But yeah, so if you guys have ungraded cards and wanted to see what they look like, you know, you could use this video as reference and say, hey, mine kind of looks like the 1 or the 2. If you pull most cards pack fresh, they should be anywhere from the 8 to 10 range. And then any other cards typically, I think, wouldn't go below a 5. If there is a bend, expect anywhere from the 4 all the way down to the 1. Just because PSA grade takes a lot away from the grade if there is any significant damage, such as indentation or creases or bends of any kind. Otherwise, it's basically centering and edge/corner wear. So this is the back for the 1. I'm going to need a better way to do this. See, 1 versus 2. I guess what you can't see is that the 1 has some warping on the card, whereas the 2 has like a slight crease. The warping is more significant. It's about this chunk on the front of the card, whereas the bend is only this small portion. So slightly less damage on the 2 versus the 1. Then we'll go to the 3 for comparison purposes. So, believe, yeah, there's a nick on the bottom. However, the portion of the damage is smaller versus this entire portion of the front, so that's why one got a 3 and the other got a 1. The whitening, I would say, is about is pretty similar on the back in terms of corner wear / edge wear. So it's mainly just the amount of warping / dent damage that distinguishes the 1 versus the 3. And then we'll go from a 3 to a 4. So, as I said earlier, there's a, oh my goodness, there's like a small nick in the bottom corner for the 3. For this 4, there is nothing on the front of the card. I don't see. Let me look at the back. The back. Okay, so for the 4, there is, I don't know if there's a nick. It's pretty small and I can't find it. And then the wear for the edges and corners is slightly less. And that's what's the difference between a 3 and a 4. So let's go to a 5. So I believe the main difference will be the edge wear. So you can see get closer. The edge wear is slightly less on the corners and the edges as well. There's significant whitening that you can see. It's further over, whereas this has more, but the lines are smaller as well. So yeah, that's the difference between the 4 and the 5. Go from 5 to 6 now. We'll flip each one of them over. So as you can see, less whitening on the 6 compared to the 5. Then when we move from a 6 to a 7, you can see there's a big difference now. The whitening has been significantly reduced on the 7 compared to the 6. There's a huge chunk up here, whereas all around the 7 there isn't that big of whitening. Then from the 7 to the 8, so I believe from 6 on up there is no indentation damage of any kind. It's just focused on edge wear and corner wear as well as centering. What is this? This is the 8. And honestly, guys, this is entirely subjective to whoever grades your cards. The graders, could be having a good day and they could be lenient, and then they could give you like a grade or two higher, or they could be having like a terrible day, and unfortunately your cards will also get a slightly, maybe 1 or 2 grades lower, if not more. Obviously they have a lot of experience, so they know what they're doing, but yet they have some variance because they're human as well. So you can see the whitening has significantly decreased from the 8 to the 9. Then when we get to the 10, 9 versus a 10 really isn't that much different. So since these are non-holographic cards, you don't have to worry about the holo pattern. It's mainly edge wear and corner wear, and then surface as well. So maybe the centering is slightly better on the 10, and then there's like 1 significant nick versus like 2 or 3 slight nicks in the corners. But other than that, the 10 is very close to the 9 sometimes, and vice versa. So yeah, I hope this gave you guys a kind of a good guide on what happens or what to look out for when you have raw cards and you would like to get them graded by PSA. If you guys have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section down below. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And this is Sleeping Snorlax Al, and I'll see you in the next one.